racetrack, 368.8 with ease at 205 miles an hour after being 036. Matt Dietschy encountered some issues. He'll coast on through at 486. A good start to qualifying for Travis Harvey and his crew. The day that he's celebrating his birthday.
All right, our next pair is on the clock. Tommy Mooney here on the left-hand side of the racetrack for TM Race Cars. Out of Shelby, North Carolina, the Fulton-powered 68 Camaro. Another fellow celebrating a birthday here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. That's Tony Wilson, the K-Town Hustler 68 Camaro. Tony, out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. In a car that he's wrapped to make it look like his uncle's car from back in the day. Tony debuted this machine at Bristol Dragway when we stopped there, and when we stopped at the lot for the second time of the season, he was a semifinalist in that event.
Scotty just mentioned Tony Wilson paying tribute to his family, and it's kind of how it all got started way back in the day, and it's kind of bred Tony Wilson to the racer that he is. Chevrolet Camaros coming into the starting line. Travis Harvey just went down, laid 368 on the scoreboard. It's a confidence booster. Cars go down the racetrack A to B. So Tommy Mooney, a veteran, trying to lay a lap down here in Q1. Tony's got the front end hiked in the air, and a lot of parts and pieces. Going to fly off of the K-Town Hustler Camaro at 365.4, 207 the speed. So even though Tony Wilson lays down a good run, some parts and pieces fly into the atmosphere, and we'll be down for just a few moments as our trackside spotter is going to jump the wall and take a look down there. Tommy Mooney, 842 at only 70 miles an hour, so he had issues as soon as he left the starting line.
But what a lap for Tony Wilson. 365.4, 207. Very strong run for that team.
So as the tractors take the racing surface, just got word from the top end from our safety team that there's going to be some extensive work in the Tony Wilson pit going for Q2 as, well, there's windows missing on Tony's Camaro.
Yeah, that was a pretty big pop down there at the top end.
Probably a hood scoop missing as well, and some other body panels that are damaged, but a lot of work ahead of Tony Wilson and his team to try and get that car back for Q2 later this afternoon. I'm sure they're going to be thrashing on it, and maybe needing some help back there.
All of Maxima's engine oils contain a double zinc formula. The first zinc activates at lower temperatures, protecting engines during startup. Once the engine warms up, the second zinc activates, again adding to performance and engine protection while in the heat of battle. Learn more about Maxima Racing and your fine product for your performance racing needs. Visit MaximaUSA.com. And Schweitzer Dynamics provide customers with innovative products manufactured here in the USA while using state-of-the-art CNC machinery. Our nitrous kits will work on street cars, drag cars, sand mud drags, drag boat racing, and land speed racing. Each part is designed for optimal flow and is subjected to stringent testing. The quality of our product and our customer satisfaction is our primary focus. To learn more about how Schweitzer Dynamics holds multiple dual records, including the world's fastest nitrous car, follow us on Facebook and check out our website at www.schweitzerdynamics.com or call us at 702-966-1210.
All right, looks like the on-track cleanup is complete, so we'll fire the next pair. So a classic Ford versus Chevrolet matchup here in Q1 as John Vergotz completes the burnout process here on the left-hand side of the racetrack. The Dark Knight 69 Camaro out of Erie, Pennsylvania for A1 Automotive. Pat Musey horsepower underneath, well, there is no hood scoop, so in between the frame rails of that machine. And Dane Wood on the right-hand side, the Purvis Ford Mustang for Affordable Trans, Three Guns Customs, BHM Drag Racing, Julie and Donnie Wilson, and a Billy Albert power plant between the frame rails of that machine. And Derek Dane yesterday in testing looked extremely good, probably better than we've seen him look all year.
Yeah, Dane's car laid down a really good lap, and I hope that they can continue that here in the qualifying today. The success that they have seen already here this weekend at Virginia Motorsports Park. But, you know, both of these cars, Vergotz and Wood, they have kind of suffered some damage over the recent weeks. John doesn't have a hood scoop. He blew that off. Dane, well, his car, it's got some body work done on the front end due to Galot Motorsports Park, and that was not an easy weekend for them down there. Another clean run and parts and pieces again. 369 with a 5, 201 the speed as parts and pieces fly off of the Escobar Ford. John's going to go 420, 129 there.
So Derek, I think I want to be a hood scoop salesman at this point in the weekend. It looks like that may be the hot item in the pit area.
So how?
Winning drivers rely on VP Racing fuels to optimize performance. Now get the same benefit with VP Additives, offering race fuel technology for your daily driving. Increase fuel mileage and restore power in your street car with VP's Fuel System Cleaner. Or give your race car a boost with VP's Octanium Unleaded, improving your fuel's octane by up to 7 numbers and giving you the throttle response your performance car was built to deliver. That's VP Additives. Available at vpracingfuels.com. Redline Oil. Born in a lab and tested on tracks around the world. You can push it to the limit. We'll protect it. Visit redlineoil.com to find a dealer near you. ATI has been helping racers get to the winner's circle for over 60 years now. Our advanced engineering, precision in-house manufacturing, and real-world race experience can help you turn on the win light round after round. When you think about engine protection, consistency, or putting the power to the ground, think of ATI Performance Products. Power Glides, 2 or 3 speed 400s, T350s, or high horsepower 4L80s. We can make them better, lighter, faster, and stronger. From 400 to 4,000 horsepower, ATI has the parts for you. Don't forget the best quality, American-made parts. Build the best transmissions and converters. If you don't need a complete transmission, be sure to request the best internal parts you can get, and they come from ATI. ATI is family-owned, has a staff of 80 people who work out of a 100,000-square-foot facility with 36 CNC machines. And we do it all in Baltimore, Maryland. Whatever you need, ATI can help. Check out ATIRacing.com or give us a call at 800-ATI-3433. Performance is our passion, and we can make our passion real performance. Whether you have a street car or a 5,000-plus horsepower door slammer, Fuel Tech has the perfect solution for your project. Fuel Tech is changing the game and transforming a traditional EFI system into a complete vehicle control unit. Fuel injection, dashboard, data logger, boost control, nitrous control, traction control, wheelie control, staging control, and safety controls are just a few features you can take advantage of with a Fuel Tech system. Get ready to consolidate the electronics in your car and make the switch to Fuel Tech today. Learn more about what Fuel Tech has to offer by visiting.
All righty, racetrack cleaned up once again.
FuelTech.net.
Cleaned up, ready to go. So our next pair head to the burnout box, and Mike Achenbach, the deep purple 2.0 69 Camaro out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, here on the left-hand side of the racetrack for Canvas Plus. And the icon in the category, Ricky Smith on the right-hand side out of King, North Carolina for Parkway Ford, his 2022 Mustang. Ricky, fresh off a runner-up finish at Galat 2 weekends ago. Achenbach utilizing Fulton horsepower underneath the hood scoop of his machine. Ricky Smith, none other than Pat Musey. Popeye Pat out on the starting line here this weekend at VMP, watching his customers. Great to see them out here.
So 365, 368, 369. There's your top three right now here in Pro Nitrous qualifying. Mike Achenbach, Ricky Smith trying to add their name to the top of the qualifying list. Two strong running hot rods we have here coming to the starting line.
And Derek, we've touched on it all weekend about the weather being a factor here, and I'm pretty sure you feel pretty confident with Ricky Smith and his years and years of experience on racetracks like this.
Achenbach staying right alongside of Ricky, and the scoreboards light up. 368.7. Ricky Smith gets there at 204 miles an hour. Achenbach's going to trail him through at 369, 203.95 the speed. So Ricky Smith goes to number 2. Mike Achenbach goes to number 5 here in Pro Nitrous qualifying right now. Good laps for both of those drivers here in Q1.
Cam Clark, Brian Schrader, our next pair out. Both of them with Pat Musey horsepower underneath the hood scoop. Schrader on the right-hand side. The 2017 Corvette out of Robert Hayes Motorsports. And Cam Clark on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Reidsville, North Carolina. The Cumberland Farm and Auto 69 Camaro owned by Mark Engel. Premier Concrete Solutions, D&T Motorsports on board his machine. Schrader picked up a 660 man at the season opener at Galop Motorsports Park.
So they're going to shut Cam Clark off. Push him back off the starting line. So the Cumberland Farm Camaro will not make the call here in Q1. Going to be a single run for Brian Schrader now over there on the far side. Unfortunate little leakage for Cam Clark and his team. Seeing quite a few cars go right down the atomizer side of the racetrack, A to B. You'd only think what Brian Schrader is going to bring here. 360, I would say 368 or 369. Nope, clicks it early as he goes into tire shake. 950 down low, and Schrader's 547.
Next pair fired to life and pulled through the water box. Buddy Perkinson and Chris Rini. Chris on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Hickory, North Carolina. The ATI Performance Products 69 Camaro. For Maxima Oils, LR Sales, Charlie Buck horsepower underneath the hood scoop, 959 cubic inches worth. And Buddy Perkinson here on the left-hand side. The Perkinson Construction 69 Camaro. For LAT Racing Oils and Brown Line Construction. Pat Musey horsepower, left side. For Perkinson, another 959 underneath the hood scoop.
All right, so Buddy P and Chris Rini. Think back to Colot Motorsports Park. Both of these race cars ran fairly well down there. Trying to bring that momentum this weekend into Virginia, and look at the scoreboards light up, 367. That's a stout run out of Rini. Over there on the right side, Team ATI at 204 miles an hour. That's going to be good enough for number 2 right now. You look across the racetrack, and Buddy Perkinson scoreboard, 373, 203, 95 are the numbers. So Buddy slides to number 7. That was a soft run for Perkinson, but they went A to B, and I think that was their whole goal. Let's get a good starting point for the day and work off of that. That's exactly what they did.
Marcus Butner comes out next on the left side of the racetrack out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina. The Heartbreaker 69 Camaro for Butner Construction, Twin City Rebar, Liberty's Gears, Jaycox Racing, and a Pat Musey power plant. 973 cubic inches of nitrous-fed horsepower underneath the hood scoop. And Tommy Franklin, your defending world champion in the category on the right-hand side. The 69 Camaro they call the Jungle Rat out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Franklin Electric, SmartCom, Redline, Hoosier, Pat Musey Mill underneath the hood scoop, and Jeff Pierce doing the tuning. Yesterday here in testing, Tommy Franklin laid down a stellar 359 pass. Going to try to duplicate that right here in Q1, Derek.
Yeah, I'm going to say Franklin's going to go mid to low 60s. Car's been really good. Looks strong, and of course here in his hometown race, big implications are on the line. Tommy Franklin trying to lay claim to another world championship.
Currently, he's third place in the point standings, only one round behind your points leader, Freddie Scriba, and Halsey splits him.
So, of course, the championship battle in Pro Nitrous is an absolute dogfight rolling in here to the World Finals. Qualifying points count. Of course, win lights are another big thing that these teams are looking for. Tommy knows what he's got to do here this weekend. Marcus Butner over there on the far side of the racetrack, just about set to go. Tommy's car's looking good early on. The scoreboard 363. There's a stout number at 207 miles an hour for Tommy. Marcus gets there at 371 at 203.86. So say hello to a new #1 qualifier here in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous, and that is Tommy Franklin by 0.02 of a second. Marcus is 371 elapsed time, enough for the top half of the field. We'll see how long that holds, though.
As our next pair fires to life and starts to pull towards the water box. Jim Halsey, Freddie Scriba. Freddie Scriba on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Millersville, Maryland. The Scriba Welding 69 Camaro. Pat Musey horsepower underneath the hood scoop for Freddie Scriba. He picked up his first points-paying win in that Robert Hayes-built Camaro at our last stop on tour, Colot Motorsports Park, just 2 short weeks ago. And in doing so, he took over the points lead. A different tale, though, on the left-hand side of the racetrack. Jim Halsey out of Havre de Grace, Maryland. The Cecil County Dragway 68 Camaro for Schweitzer Dynamics. Yellow Bullet Nationals and Purnell Body Shop. Halsey in Q3 had a catastrophic incident at the top end, and unfortunately was unable to compete for the rest of the weekend. Went back to Havre de Grace and put together the Daddy Shark machine. 4 championships were won in the car here on the left-hand side of the racetrack. So the team went back to work, put this hot rod together, and here he is just 2 short weeks later.
So if you're Freddie Scriba, guy that everyone is chasing in the category, you're looking for clean runs every time you come to the starting line. You're Jim Halsey. You're just trying to get this car to go A to B. They have struggled in testing. Let's find out what we see here. Jim's going to the other end, driving a little bit, and 366. That's a good number at 206. 367 for Freddie, right alongside at 206.61. So they're number 3 and 4. 1/100th of a second difference separated number 1 and 2 in points here in the opening round of qualifying there. Tommy Franklin in top at 363.8.
Yeah, Jimmy was doing some driving on that pass, but that's the first time we've seen that car go A to B all weekend. So that'll round out Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous. We need Mincer Motorsports Pro Street. Pro Street, we need you to the staging lanes, please, for Q1. Mincer Motorsports Pro Street, we need you to the staging lanes at this time for Q1. Now we make the jump over to WS Construction Pro Boost, presented by Tie Drive and P2 Contracting. Craig Sullivan, a beautiful 49 Mercury on the right-hand side out of Plainfield, Indiana. The Bet on Black machine. Of course, when he debuted this car, they called it El Mero Mero and had a really wild hand-painted murals all over it. Just a wild-looking machine. Didn't have a lot of good luck, though, with that paint scheme, so he brings the car back out, dressed in all black. We'll see what he can do right here. Made some good runs yesterday, so hopefully he can continue that.
Right now, Craig Sullivan, first competitor out here in Pro Boost. Fan favorite, 49 Mercury. Sullivan Equipment Company, back there in Plainfield, Indiana. Long-time business owner. Pedals it once down low, and Craig Sullivan, 366, 210 the speed. The back end black, 49 Mercury.
All right, our next pair. Head to the water box. It's going to be Cameron Hensley and Eric Donovan. Donovan on the right-hand side out of Marshall, Virginia, the 67 Firebird for Capital Car Care. Cam Hensley here on the left-hand side out of Vernon, California, the Lard Machine, 69 Camaro for Coast Packing, PTP, Pro Charger, Haltech, Hoosier, Liberty's Gears, and Lions Custom Motorsports.
Cameron Hensley and Eric Donovan. Side-by-side Pro Boost action here. Final adjustments are made, and they're guided into the pre-stage beat. There they go. Hensley, 3:62.2, 2:08.55. The numbers there on the Summit side scoreboard. Eric Donovan's going to trail at 3:83.198 in his Pontiac Firebird. Cameron Hensley, good solid first round qualifying effort that we just seen there. His Chevrolet Camaro going to be at the top, and we'll find out for how long.
Derek, if this is any indication, this is about to get stupid here in Pro Boost. As Andy Jensen and James Beadling head to the water box. James Beadling out of Olmsted Falls, Ohio on the right-hand side. Jensen left side. The Pennsylvania-based 68 Camaro with the small block and turbocharger. Barely hear that car doing a burnout, but I'll tell you what, keep your eyes on it. Turbo cars make it big at mile an hour. We'll see if Jensen can get it done right here.
Andy Jensen's Camaro, and James Beadling, the Buckeye State of Ohio, getting ready to turn this machine loose that you see on the right side. They're in, lights are down, out and away. James's car makes a move to the finish line at 3:58.3. Yeah, there's Jaws on the ground for that at 212 miles an hour. Andy Jensen goes 3:73.201. But how about James Beadling? A stellar performance right off the rip here in Q1 of qualifying for Beadling.
You know that team's got to be pumped up, man. That's big numbers. As our next pair fire up and head to the water box. The Ghetto Sleigh lines up on the right-hand side. That's Jeff Rudolph out of Brownsburg, Indiana. Pro Line, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, M&M Trans, and Sailor Jerry on board for Rudolph on the right side, and Mike DiDomenico here on the left-hand side out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio. 2019 Larry Jeffers built Corvette.
You know, I'll tell you, we've seen Jeff Rudolph run with us before, specifically in 2024 this season. He's made a stop at the Red Line on PDRA Drag Racing Series. But I feel like Jeff Rudolph's program now is, you know, it can compete in the category. They've done a lot of work to get to where they're at, and they've got a fast race car.
And he got married. I'm sure that helps.
Yeah, just
you know.
just tied the knot.
Yep.
About 2 weeks ago. Mike Dominico. His Corvette. Larry Jeffers race cars. There on the left side. Rudolph is in. And there goes Jeff Rudolph. 361.4 lays down a good lap at 2:07. So Jeff Rudolph of the Ghetto Sleigh. Good starting point of the weekend in the number 2 spot right now behind James Beadling, who dropped at 3:58.
Joe Wensley Sr. on the right-hand side out of Brooklyn, Michigan. The Liberty's Gears 2017 Camaro. For Mincer Motorsports, VP Racing and PTP Racing, Tommy Gray is fired up here in the tunnel, but not moving. The Undertaker Corvette now starts to roll forward, and they shut it off. So unfortunately, doesn't look like Tommy Gray going to make the attempt, and that's a shame because that car was making great hits out here yesterday. Tommy out of Baltimore, Maryland for Carter Site Services, ATI Racing Products, and Berg Demolition.
So they'll push the Undertaker Corvette off to the side, and Joel Wensley, the lone ranger here on the starting line. Team Liberty Gears Camaro. State of Michigan. Long trip down there this weekend. So Wensley's in. And 366, the end result for Joel Wensley at 209 the speed. So look at qualifying so far. James Beadling's number 1, Jeff Rudolph is 2, Cameron Hensley's 3, Joel Wensley's 4, Craig Sullivan number 5 right now, Andy Jensen, Eric Donovan, Mike Dominico, number 8 in the category of Pro Boost. 2 more race cars, rolls towards the water box.
And it's going to be Jason Lee and Chuck Ulsch. Ulsch on the right-hand side out of Mount Airy, Maryland. The 68 Camaro for HFR Fabrication, Churchview Farms, Redline Oil, NGK Spark Plugs, and YO Motorsports. And Jason Lee, left-hand side out of Vernon, California. The Coast Packing Company 2020 Camaro, PTP Racing, Lions Custom Motorsports, Haltech, Noonan Race Engineering, part of the 2-car Lard Machine team.
optimal weather conditions right here. A lot of horsepower to be made. Sun's out, put a little heat in the racing surface. It's cool fall temperatures out. So Jason Lee, Chuck Ulsch, return to the racetrack right here. Opening round of qualifying. Pro Boost. It's California versus Maryland. About 004 there for Chuck Ulsch in the Camaro, and he's 360. Big run out of Chuck at 212 miles an hour, 361.7, 208 the speed for Jason Lee. So both of those cars laying down good laps to number 2 and 4 here in qualifying.
So Bubba Green, next car out on the right-hand side. Scotty Cannon Tude, Corvette out of Greer, South Carolina. Has made some big improvements in their program. We stopped at Bristol, had a fantastic weekend. Was supposed to face off against Ed Burnley in the Ironman 2.0, and Ed had contact with the wall when we stopped at Galot. Got that machine fixed up and brought it out here yesterday in testing, and unfortunately had more contact with the wall.
Well, and you think back to Bristol, and I really thought that was the weekend it was going to happen for Bubba Green. And that car was flawless down there, making good laps, and they had luck on their side, fell up a little short. They roll into the World Finals. We're going to make a little bit of noise here to end out 2024.
Big shout out to all the people out there that are skipping out on work and watching flows. Sammy Stapp, one of them, just texted me, let me know he's getting nothing done while he's watching us run Q1.
We fully approve of that. It's better than being on the payroll on the clock and getting paid to watch a little bit of drag racing. Just don't tell your boss. Bubba's car made it about 500 feet and clicks it off, 373, 175. He was 966 down low and 247 into the split.
And Derek, I tell you, that thing sounded like it was laboring down there about mid-track on, so probably a
small puff of smoke out of the right side, and that's exactly when Bubba Green clicked it off.
Well, we have
number 9 right now.
We have a little over-under bet on how many burst panels are going to launch this weekend.
There's going to be a couple.
Scott Lang and Spencer Hyde. Scott Lang, left side of the racetrack out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The Equalizer 2018 Camaro for AML Motorsports, KA13. Pro Line, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, Carmack, M&M Transmissions, you name it. He's got it on that hot rod. And actually had the opportunity to spend a little time talking to Scott yesterday, and you won't find anybody else as pumped up as he is in the pit area, in the staging lanes. They have been through this car. He told me if they put paint on it, it would be a brand new machine. That's the only thing left that they haven't changed on the car is the paint. And
everything.
Yeah, I mean, rear end, Carmack got him a new rear end altogether. It's just amazing the parts that they put on this hot rod. And Spencer Hyde on the right-hand side out of Stratford, Ontario, Canada. Jack in the green stock 69 Camaro for Redline Oil, NGK, Hyde Construction, Noonan Race Engineering, Hellbilly Race Cars, Wilhelm Construction, R&R Sand and Gravel, and Bryson Wood Homes.
So Spencer Hyde, the general contractor, the family-owned business up there in Stratford, and they are heavy into commercial construction and also real estate. So he's got his hands full through the week running a family business, and then behind the wheel of these Pro Mods and been dabbling a little bit in Top Fuel as well. So if you were Spencer Hyde, you're a busy guy. Pre-stage and stage bulbs start to light up. This pair is in. Lang's out of the gate on the left side. Spencer's car looks real good. Finish line 360 there for Spencer Hyde at 211 miles an hour. Jack of the Greenstock Chevrolet Camaro. Scott Lang is going to go 363, trailing there to the number 7 spot here in qualifying. Spencer goes to number 3, right behind Chuck Ulsch and James Beadling. And those are two guys, look how strong their runs are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, those are monster runs by some of the smaller teams. And I tell you what, I think that's the third 363 that Scott Lang's been here this weekend. Very consistent hot rod.
Testing, it's 363.8, 363, let's say 8 again.
Steve King, Randy Weatherford, our next two. King on the left-hand side. And unfortunately, we're going to have to shut this pair off. There is a trail of fluid down on the top end. So once again, there is a trail of fluid coming out of one of the machines down on the top end of the racetrack. So it'll be just a moment while we check out the top end, see what we've got. And word from the top end is there will be some cleanup, not bad, but there will be a little cleanup down on the top end. Be a great time to stop by the Classic Graphics PDRA apparel trailer. Great looking event shirts here this weekend at the Pro Line Brian Olson Memorial World Finals presented by Pro Charger. There is no line at the Hot Rod Grill. I'm under the understanding that they have fried bologna sandwiches today. You can't go wrong with a little fried bologna in your life. Some hot dog pancakes. Who doesn't like those?